What's going on? The Ape Coach from Six Pack Gaming, where we bring you the best play to earn NFT games and new Metaverse projects. Now today we are back with another update video here on Pegaxy. It's been a minute since we talked about it on the channel here, but we have still been extremely active in this, and we have a ton of updates to go over here. And I'm going to share with you why I personally think this could be one of, if not the top NFT game of the year for all of 2022. There's so many things coming with this. We've got the Flippening, we've got the Themis, we've got Pegaxy Satellite, we've got Stadiums, we've got strategy-based gameplay, we've got profile pictures, the ramp network, tons of changes and updates with this. I'm pumped to share it all with you guys, so be sure to smash that thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe and got notifications turned on, and let's dive right into this. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing we're going over here, we've got our man Clay, the number man, doing all the math and letting us know 3 gameplay changes that are going to be implemented, well, probably in a few hours. This is said to be going live March 3rd. All right, so we have the Flippening event coming up here. So what that means is they're flipping the cooldowns for all the breeds, all the bloodlines, in order to help incentivize breeding of the different bloodlines and help to balance things out. The second thing that they're adding is cooldowns are going to be added to parents for breeding. All right, so there's going to be a racing cooldown for the parents that actually breed the new Pegas. And the third change here is going to be that newborn Pegas are going to be born with 0 energy as opposed to the 25 energy that they've currently been born with. Okay, so the reason, first off, that they're flipping the breeding cooldowns, when we look at the numbers, Hauses were just taking over. The supply of Hauses was 55% of all the Pegas here, whereas Zans were only 13%, which has actually made them the least valuable Pega because they have the lowest rarity, right? The least rarity, there's the most abundant supply of them, and that is why you're seeing things like this, where the Haas floor price is now the cheapest of all the Pega bloodlines. We have the Zans, the most expensive, because the market is already pricing in these coming changes, right? So we have Zans have now become much more valuable, and Hauses much less valuable in terms of breeding, and we will go over the breakdown here to show you kind of why that is and explain how this is going to work. All right, so we have, first off, the parent breed cooldowns. Okay, so we have Hauses have a 24-hour cooldown still. This is all the same. Okay, so the parents that breed, the Hauses can breed again after 24 hours, Camponas after 48. All of this is the same. Okay, what was added here is the baby race cooldown has been flipped. Okay, so now the offspring, it used to be that Haas's offspring could race after 24 hours. So they could breed once every 24 hours, and then their offspring could race again right away after 24 hours. Now that is being flipped on its head. So now Zans are going to be able to race. The baby Zans are going to be able to race after 24 hours, but their parents still have a 96-hour cooldown until they can breed again. Okay, so that's where it's kind of helping balance things out. If you're breeding with Zans, you're going to be able to race them much quicker, which allows you to start earning that VIS quicker as well, right? But one additional thing that they're adding here is parent race cooldowns. Okay, so in the past, you could breed with 2 parent Pegas and you could just get them right back to racing immediately. There was no cooldown, there was, nothing. Now, all bloodlines, all Pegas that breed, the parents are going to have a 96-hour cooldown. So they're not going to be able to race for 4 days after they breed. So that is a pretty substantial change. That is going to really impact the earnings potential and the vis minting essentially that's being done, especially as people are trying to breed to kind of build up their stables and that sort of thing. And then the last thing here is the baby breed cooldown. Again, this is still the same as original. There's a 96-hour cooldown until baby Pega are able to breed again. That has been the same since the start, as well as the parent breed cooldowns. So the only two things that changed here are the baby race cooldowns and the adding of parent race cooldowns. So the big impact for this, or the big reasoning for this, is to help to reduce the amount of vis that is being minted daily in order to hopefully help balance out the economy, as well as balance out the population of the Pegas, and try to find a bit more of a middle ground in terms of balancing the value of each of the bloodlines of the different Pegas, right? Because again, they don't want this to be pay to win, and they don't want, you know, one bloodline to completely dominate the other. So, you know, we could see in the future where they do some things for Camponas or Clins that, you know, maybe make them meta, right? Like you see this all the time in games like Call of Duty and stuff like that, where they have to try to balance out the game and new sort of metas form in terms of strategies that people use. If you're not familiar with the term meta, it stands for most effective tactics available. So, you know, that can kind of apply to any game. Okay, let's move on to the next update here, which is Themis. Okay, so we are finally, let me move this over here as well, kind of get back in my home. All right, so we've got Themis here, which is going to be giving real utility to PGX. Okay, so up until this point, you know, PGX is the governance token, but there hasn't really been any sort of governance use case implemented yet with PGX. So it's, you know, more of just a long-term hold play. When they had said in the future they'd be establishing the DAO, and they'd be introducing staking of PGX. Right now they are basically building out a platform where you are going to be able to voice your opinions, upvote and downvote certain things, and utilize your PGX to be able to have your voice heard, to be able to have a say in the future developments of the game. This is something that they want to encourage because they want this to, you know, be a player controlled environment and ecosystem in the future. All right, and the next thing after Themis, we had an introduction to what Corey referred to as Satellite. Okay, and so he explains it here in the Pegaxy Insider number 5. If you guys want to, you know, give it a watch, it's right around 1745 here. He starts to go into it. Essentially, all he's saying here is that what they're going to be doing, because Pegaxy and the NFTs and that are essentially open source, anyone can create a game or create a sort of like metaverse type thing that is able to utilize the NFTs and the assets of Pegaxy, essentially, right? And so the idea, the concept behind this is that they want to essentially build like a giant metaverse where horse racing in the core sort of game that we all know as Pegaxy is only going to be like one sort of core like satellite here, and then you're going to actually be able to utilize your Pega NFTs as a key to be able to access these other games that are built kind of within the ecosystem that will have completely different mechanics, that'll have completely different use cases, but also be able to implement more utility for both your NFTs as well as the tokens within Pegaxy. So PGX and VIS, which is going to be able to add additional burning mechanisms and create a bunch of unique effects in the ecosystem and the economy that the core game itself wouldn't be able to do. So it's a very interesting concept, and very, very cool to see they're actually taking that whole open metaverse concept and they're running with it. And I'm super bullish and excited to see what they can make of Satellite. This is a huge thing that I think they are building towards, and one of the key things that I think is going to help set them apart from so many other games and projects in the space, and really create massive utility for the NFTs as well as the tokens. So that is huge. And the next thing that's coming here, this is this Megavis and Pega Burn loop with Pega Prestige. Okay, so basically they're saying the current issue is that right now there's no real incentive for people to breed past like 2 or 3 breeds, right? Because once the price of breeding gets beyond the floor price of buying a new Pega, it makes more sense economically for people just looking to, you know, make the most returns on their money to just buy a Pega off the floor of the market, or to buy it cheaper on the market rather than breeding additional Pegas, right? And so what they're wanting to do is figure out a way to incentivize people to breed their Pegas all the way up to 7 out of 7 breeds, which would obviously cost a ton of VIS. They have the chart here to do the 7th breed here. It costs 42,000 VIS per Pega here, so 84,000 VIS plus the 30 PGX. So that is a huge fee. Plus you have to do all these other, you know, breeds before it, right? What they want to do with this is essentially take the prestige system from something like Call of Duty, right? Where once you grind your way all the way up to the max level, and then your levels reset, and you just get, you know, kind of a vanity little icon and metric that kind of shows people that, you know, you grinded all the way up, you reset, and now you're, you know, grinding through the ranks again. This is a similar sort of concept that they want to apply to this, but they're gonna have some real interesting benefits and that sort of thing, or at least they're proposing some very unique benefits to actually doing the prestige that will, I think, really incentivize people to try to do this, which is going to be massive for burning VIS as well as controlling the Pega population. Because in order to make a prestige Pega, what you have to do, you have to breed 2 Pegas all the way up to 7 out of 7. Okay, both Pegas have to be 7 out of 7, which is going to cost 212,000 VIS total. Okay, and at the current prices, or at 3 cents, that's, you know, about $6,400 to breed those Pegas up to 7 out of 7 breeds. All right, then in order to be able to make a prestige Pega, you have to essentially merge those 2 Pegas into 1 prestige Pega. So you're essentially killing one of those Pegas, getting 1 prestige Pega as a result, and then the breed counts reset back to 0 out of 7, but the breeding costs actually increase by 25%. So it's harder to, you know, rather than Call of Duty where you're just leveling your character up, in this you are essentially breeding your Pega's prestige level up, right? And so it's going to cost you more after you've prestiged. So huge benefits economically. Now let's talk about some of the potential incentives that they're, you know, these are just kind of thoughts at this point. These aren't, you know, set in stone or anything like that, but these were some of the things they were thinking would be cool to help incentivize people to actually want to do this beyond just, you know, like a vanity flexing on, you know, other people kind of thing. So one of these things is when merged, the user could customize the prestige Pega's color, gender, and name without limitation. So that would be huge. You could fully customize your guy, make your own unique prestige Pega, rename it, have it whatever gender you want. Other really cool things that they had here was that they could get potentially more energy for races when they're prestige. So prestige 1 maybe gets 30 energy instead of 25, prestige 240, prestige 350. So on and so forth. The other really cool thing that I think this is something that would be awesome is that they could get 10 races per day where they actually earn PGX, not VIS. So they actually earn the governance token rather than just the utility token for these unique prestige only races. That would be something very cool, and I think again something that would incentivize people to actually do this, right? So this is just saying, as you can see, a single prestige 2 Pega would burn over 680,000 VIS, 1 standard Pega, and 1 prestige 1 Pega. The prestige system, I think, is a massive burning mechanism and population control event, something that I think will be an awesome addition to the game in the future. You know, I think that's a little bit longer term here. But one of the things that we have coming up Q2 here, this next quarter, so within the next 3 months or so, 3 to 4 months, we have the stadium sales. And this is going to be, I think, one of the biggest events in Pegaxy's history so far, right? So this is just some ideas of ways to acquire these stadiums. What they're going to be doing is you're going to have to sacrifice Pegas in order to be able to get one of these stadiums. All right, so this is going to massively reduce the supply of Pegas that are available, and, you know, increase the value and the rarity of the Pegas that are left again, right? So this is saying, you know, just these are all just thoughts. These aren't, you know, set numbers or prices, but, you know, maybe you have to burn 300 Pega to get a Pacer stadium, 500 for a rare, etc., all the way up to 10,000 Pega to get a stadium of Hades, right? So that is insane when you think of the total population right now is 291,000. If we're taking out 10,000 of those just for one of these stadiums, that would be a massive impact on the economy as a whole and really help boost the value in these NFTs. Alrighty, so we have been talking about this for, you know, since the start of Pegaxy, but this is something that it seems like everyone kind of new to Pegaxy or kind of hears about it and doesn't really, you know, dive into what's behind it. Everyone sort of forgets this and misses it, but we have the first sort of elements of skill-based earnings, the skill-based game coming to Pegaxy. It is currently being worked on. So what they're saying is they are trying to build a strategy-based game for Pegaxy as the sort of initial step. You know, one of the great things about the Pegaxy team is they don't just throw something at you and then, you know, you have to like deal with it, right? They do things in small increments and they're completely collaborative with the community the whole way through it. They baby step through these implementations of new things and they ask for feedback and they actually utilize it, which is massive, right? Something completely unheard of in this NFT gaming space up until this point. And I think it's setting the standard for what all future projects are going to have to do in order to sustain their player base and their economies and ultimately be successful long term, right? So I think they're doing it right here. So let's just go over this quickly. All right, so strategy-based gaming is currently being worked on. We're trying to make sure it's a game that you can play casually, but also makes you think, right? And it has a lot of replay value. So what they say is, we'd love to hear your thoughts on what should and should not be included in a strategy-based game. And then they kind of tease some things down here. Imagine genetics. Imagine requiring specific Pega. Imagine choosing stadiums strategically. What else? Okay, and so if you want, you can kind of read through the thread here and just look at all the comments. There's 44 different comments here, and you can kind of see what people are talking about and see if any of these ideas might make sense. But I think it's very cool that they're kind of putting it out to the community. They're, you know, Corey is always very active on Twitter, in the Discord, everywhere, and actively engaging with the community, which is huge. But I am really looking forward to this. The plans for the first sort of skill-based game implementation is Q3. Okay, so that's about 4 to 7 months away here. Not very long, but very exciting to see that, you know, this is already being worked on, and they're not just, you know, going about it haphazardly. They're asking the community, they're gauging feedback, and they're taking, you know, requests and ideas from the community at large that's supporting this game and actually playing it. And one of the last things we're going to talk about in today's video, at least, is Corey kind of teased this ramp network integration that they mentioned back in their roadmap, you know, way back. Where was it? Here. So the swap widget and ramp integration. So one of the things that you'll see they implemented already in the game itself is this notifications tab. They kind of added this to let you guys know about news and updates and stuff with the game right within the game itself. Now, the next thing that they are looking to accomplish is being able to swap your fiat currency for the in-game tokens right within the Pegaxy game itself. No need to go to dexes and stuff like that. You don't have to go over to like KyberSwap or, you know, all these different exchanges. You can do everything right on Pegaxy. I think this is massive for being able to just reduce the friction of people getting into Pegaxy and being able to play it, and being able to introduce this to non-crypto gamers, essentially, right? Like, people don't have to be crypto enthusiasts in order to understand how to play this game and how to get things set up and how to get the currency. It'll be just like any other online game where you're trading, you know, fiat currency, US dollars, Canadian dollars, whatever it may be, and you're just swapping it for the in-game currency. You know, gamers are completely familiar with that, with, you know, games over the past decades, that you've been able to buy in-game tokens or in-game currency with real world money, right? And so this is just allowing people to do that with actual cryptocurrencies just within the game itself. So this is a huge step, I believe. And now, this was probably one of the last things I was going to talk about today, but I did notice Corey had just swapped his profile picture here and kind of leaked the some of the stuff that they're working on for the upcoming profile pics for Pegaxy here, and I think he posted it. Yeah, here we go. 3D team is cooking something so fire. So he's already repping one of the sort of model profile pictures. So these are coming very soon as well. This is going to be exclusively for founding Pega owners. So any of you that are owning a founding Pega, you're gonna get a unique, badass looking full 3D profile pic NFT. So that is going to be wicked as well. So that is pretty much it. But again, be sure to take a look at the roadmap here. We have a ton more in the works. We still have the Pega food sale coming up. We've got the stadium sales we talked about here. This is going to be huge. The release of the Pegaxy game on iOS and Android app stores. So that is massive. Again, once they integrate the on-ramp here, where you're able to swap fiat to crypto, and they have the game on Android, you know, on the Google Play Store, on the iOS App Store, that is going to be massive for being able to get people, you know, into the game outside of the typical sort of crypto ecosystem. And then we have, you know, the loot box gotcha system coming up. We've got a community hackathon. We've got the community treasure implemented, staking of PGX, secondary racing modes, the Pega Burning system. We've got the sale of Perseus, which are NFT riders of the Pegas, which is massive. And then, you know, community-based games, interoperability, cross-chain use of Pegaxy NFTs in other games, all this sort of stuff coming next year. But tons left for 2022 here, and super excited to see all that. Now, before we wrap this up here, if you guys are looking for a Pegaxy scholarship, make sure you are following me on Twitter here, just at theAPEcoach. We have been giving away tons and tons of scholarships. You know, we've done, I don't know, 18, 24 scholarships in the past week or two, and we are currently giving away 6 more. All right, all the rules to enter are right here. Just come drop a follow on the Twitter, take a look at this, and it'll show you how you can enter for a chance of one of these 6 scholarships. All right, and we're going to be giving away a whole lot more consistently as well. Those are all of the updates for now for Pegaxy. As you can see, there is a ton happening with this, a ton still in the works, and a lot to come, which is why personally I think this is going to be one of the best NFT games of the entire year here. But as always, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research and, you know, make your own decisions. If this is something, if you've been sitting on the sidelines and wondering if you should get in, I will just say that, you know, I don't think I have seen a better entry point than this since the launch of the game. Okay, so, you know, that's just what my personal opinion is on the matter. you know, when these things were $1,500, everyone wanted one but said they were too expensive, they couldn't afford them, they couldn't get in because of that. Now that they've dropped back to more reasonable prices, those same people are saying that the game's dead and, you know, they can't buy in now because everything's crashed. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm just gonna say that this is, you know, the best entry price that I've seen since the launch of the game, and there's a ton of stuff coming up with it. All right, so you know, do your own research, look into it more, dig into the updates and that sort of thing, get a feel for the community if you haven't already been a part of it, and you can make your decision as to whether, you know, you want to get into this or not. But we are continuing to truck along here, Six Pack Gaming. We are building up our stables and continuing to offer out more and more scholarships. So again, be sure to check out the Twitter, check out the Discord, all that good stuff to be able to be eligible for those. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. As always, until next time, train hard, game hard, keep making those life-changing gains, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out, everyone.